Welcome to the month of April. I can't believe Q1 has already gone by. It's been such a crazy quarter and just so much going on. February and March for our company was really good. Some crazy ups and downs, and February was the best month for sure. March was also a really good month. A lot of things to come though. I feel like I'm constantly saying things to come, but that's because of the actions we're taking. And really, that's life. The actions that you take don't land results right now. They tend to land results later on down the road. And that's what's going on right now. As I'm recording this, we still have 1 week left in March, but unless some crazy miracles happen, I don't see March becoming better necessarily than February, although it was a really good month from a profitability perspective, from a revenue perspective, definitely better than February because a lot of stuff that happened in February landed into March, but there was also things that happened in March that didn't happen in February. So I want to do this like every month, give a business update for you, kind of a life update too. I'll blend that in, but this is going to be more focused on the business side because I want to document this for myself, but also for you so you can stay focused and help encourage you along the way. So the big looming thing, I like to start with the negative so we can end on a positive note. But the thing that happened for us here in March is that we're losing 2 clients. They are finishing up at the end of the month. And so you're listening to this in April. And so we've lost those 2 clients, unfortunately. And the bittersweet thing, not sweet, but just the bitter part about that is the fact that they were our very first 2 clients. Now, one of them, I believe, will come back. There were some personal situations that were going on that didn't allow them to stay with us. It wasn't anything to do with the virtual assistants or anything. And then the second one, I think it was a similar situation. It wasn't really to do with the virtual assistants, although I'm a little confused on the whole topic, but that's something we're not going to talk about here because that's their business. But it is sad that the first 2 clients that we have, that we're losing them. And I hate that because those were the first 2 people that really got me to start the Refined VA business to help them and then end up helping other business owners with virtual assistants. So at the moment of recording this and at the end of March, we are actually up to 11 customers, which is really awesome. I think that's up from 7 I think we had going into March. So the February update, we had about 7. So we're up 5, and then now we have 16 virtual assistants placed. Of course, that's actually going to drop down 3 because between those 2 clients, we had 3 virtual assistants with them. But we're up to 16 virtual assistants placed so far. Working through that, we also had another virtual assistant we placed with a client, and unfortunately that person decided that they were going to double their time and just add in times instead of tracking them live. You can also go in manually and Clockify, and so they were testing things. So we had a lot of fun dealing with that, and so we've created a handbook to go along so we can have a documented way and have our processes and procedures in place to really deal with those situations a lot better. But of course, we immediately started working on replacing that virtual assistant. We got rid of them in the first place, and then we started working on getting a new virtual assistant for that client, which was a new one for this month. So luckily, there's a good relationship there. We were able to talk to them. We caught it ahead of time, although, and this is something in business and something until I started getting into business, I didn't realize, because you think as an employee, okay, you got the company charging $100 an hour, yet you're making like $30 an hour or 20 or whatever it is. They're charging 2, 3, 4 times as much for you than you're getting paid. And it seems a little bizarre, but as I've gotten into the business, I've started to realize that I need to do that, because in this situation now, because of the virtual assistant lying, it ended up, I guess we didn't have to pay that virtual assistant out because of those discrepancies, and that's something that we didn't see any actual output from that virtual assistant. But there's some cases where there is still some output, but the client is not satisfied, and in order to make the client happy, we have to then basically give them whatever services happen for free. In this case, there wasn't really too much. The client talked about how there wasn't usable stuff, but still, regardless, the client worked with them for about a week and a half, and That's when we started finding all the issues. The first week was already starting to become some issues. But anyways, so basically 2 weeks of work that we are going to kind of didn't get paid out to them, but as this coming week, we will have our internal virtual assistants that will work with them. And so essentially we're going to have about 2 to 3 weeks where we're basically giving the client services for free due to these issues. And so as a business owner, this is one of the things that you have to learn as you go. But if you're listening and you're thinking about getting into business ownership, or maybe you're there, think about your prices, because there's going to be things that come up like this. Like, yes, you could be charging somebody $50 an hour, and then you could pay somebody $40 an hour, but how likely can you cover anything that may happen in the situation where somebody doesn't do the work right, or you have to go back and redo work? And so it's not all about trying to double or triple your money on each individual that you're doing a service for, but you do have to make sure that you're making enough to not only cover, obviously, the employee, cover the expenses that are going on with that, if you're buying material, whatever that looks like, but also you need to be able to cover for anything that can kind of happen. You have to do some extra work. So maybe you did, for simple math, you had a 10-hour job, and so you charged $500, and you realized you only got to pay $400 out to the employee. And then you come back later, and then guess what? You had a $100 profit that you could make there. And so now what you thought was going to take 10 hours, you had to go back and redo work, or maybe it took them a little bit longer than expected. And so now you basically have about 2.5 hours that you can still not lose money. So if they were in it working 14 hours, now you just lost money. Or you basically paid for somebody just to be busy, and you lost money on that project. And so I'm not saying you should then, because you think the cost is $400, now you should charge $800 or $1,000, $2,000, whatever, to make up that cost. But you have to start thinking about your cost in that way. And so this is something that we are constantly thinking through, constantly working on. We also want to make sure that for our clients that they are getting something at a good price that's going to be value for them, that's going to be a good return on their investment working with us. But that's something as a business owner you have to take into account, that while you may think that something will take X amount of hours, it may take X times 2. It may take X times 1.2. Like, it could be 20% more, 40% more, whatever. So, little side note there for you, but something that we had to work through, and something that we will continue to do for clients as these issues, we're working with humans, they're gonna arise. But besides that, the month overall was really good. We had a speaking engagement that we did where we got 5 leads out of that. And so right now we're looking at 3 of those leads potentially closing here in the next couple of weeks. And we've got about 4 other leads in the pipeline that we're working through right now. Actually, because of one of our clients who they made a post about working with us, we actually got 3 leads from that, which was really cool. So again, this follow-up process with that, we brought in a new lead generation specialist to really help out, and we're starting to actually do cold calls, which is exciting. So something new. And last thing that I will give, so now it's kind of talking more about positives, just kind of random things that I can think about, is that we got our first video over 100 views. That was a long form video. So of course the shorts, they tend to get more views, and I think we tend to be in the range of about 100 to 200 views on YouTube for our shorts, but our videos are starting to really pick up. I was seeing, just looking really quickly before doing this recording, that we're getting about 20 to 30 on average for our long form videos. And then one actually got, I think at the moment of recording, 177 views, which was really awesome. It also tells me that we need to focus more in. It was about content and why your content sucks. And so we need to focus more in on that. And speaking of that, that's actually part of what we started doing with our business. We're basically in 3 key areas. 1 is going to be the content creation. 2 is video editing or social media management, and the video editing, and then executive assistance. We really find that those 3 are ones that we can really be strong in and help a lot of people, but then we can get really focused and niched in to really create better systems and processes to serve our clients in the future, as well as help train up our virtual assistants to become better and better. And so that's our March update. If you want to hear more from behind the scenes, definitely go follow us over on social media, especially Facebook. That's where we're doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. If you want to continue to learn more, subscribe to our podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and watch all of our videos. I would love it if you would go subscribe to both, but I understand not everybody is audio or video, or audio and video. They're one or the other. So subscribe where you're at right now. Continue to follow us on this journey. We've got a lot of things coming, but if you really want some stuff on virtual assistants and you're listening to the podcast right now, you need to go over to the YouTube channel, because we have YouTube exclusive content there to help you learn and grow on how to delegate and how to handle virtual assistants. And so make sure you go over there and subscribe. But with that, everybody, have a healthy and blessed day. We'll talk to you later.